Okay.
Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 19. It is September 23rd. How about that, guys?
So I asked my robot lady, I can't say her name because she'll start listening.
Alexa.
I asked her what time it was, and she told me today is the first official day of autumn. Fall.
Is it?
Fall.
Summer
Apparently.
is officially over.
Summer's been over here for a little bit.
Is this the summer solstice happened on the 22nd officially with, all that stuff.
So welcome to spooky season, everybody.
Yeah, spooky season.
Well, no, wait, it's turkey season.
I'd say
this is my favorite time.
Spooky then turkey, right?
This is my favorite time of
December,
year.
Surely.
In New England, this time of year, it's like the weather cools down, but not so much that you can't be outside. It's like it's really just pleasant outside almost all the time. And also you start getting the fall colors that'll come like next month, but you start getting the fall colors.
You get a preview.
And there's a briskness to the air because there's no longer any humidity in the air. So it's just like
feels just crisp, refreshing.
Yeah, crisp is a great word. It's a really perfect word for how it feels. And you start getting I feel like all the best holidays really kind of line up in autumn, where you start off with Halloween, which I think is really fun. Then you move right into Thanksgiving, the best holiday of the year.
Obviously.
And then you kind of wind down with, then you got Christmas, which is the most expensive holiday of the year.
Yeah, you empty your bank account Christmas.
Yeah, the one where you go into debt. And then the best or the second best holiday of the year, New Year's, which is always a ton of fun.
And then January,
and you kind of wind down.
And then January depression because you're like major in debt.
And then you're like hibernate till April.
Yeah,
you get nice and drunk so you can be hungover all winter.
There it is. That's your forecast for the rest of the year, guys.
And welcome to the podcast where we get really excited about the fact that it's fall.
Yeah.
I love fall. Fall's great.
I missed last week's podcast, and I'm sorry about that. But we have been talking for the last since we started the podcast, really. What are we? Episode 19. So 18 podcasts, we've been talking about how we have been kind of targeting September as the month that there's just too much happening.
Yeah.
So before we start talking about all the games we've been playing, I kind of have a question for you guys. Like, how you guys holding up? Like, what you doing okay? Like, are you playing too many games?
No.
Are you?
Eric isn't doing okay. I'm doing all right.
No, not okay.
I'm doing
Please
okay.
send help.
No, I'm this close. I'm this close to breaking, man. Can't do it.
I'm right on the edge.
It's so close to being snapped right now.
Oh man.
I was like, it was stress. I think last week we spoke about the stress and the madness of trying to prep all the content. But yeah, trying to juggle that meme of the guys like, how do I hold all these oranges? Well, this is me with like Borderlands and Monster Hunter right now, and I'm just like, ah! And then they're like, hey, have Link's Awakening. Hey, here's a copy of Code Vein. Why don't you play this? And I'm like, let's go.
I've got a copy of Control that they sent me free for a review that I haven't even played yet.
I
haven't even booted it up yet.
Like, whoops.
I wanted to play Control, and then Monster Hunter World came out, and I was like, well, so much for Control.
I'm still gonna I can't wait. Like from what I've heard, the game is super fun.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I kind of had to cut some losses. Really, Monster Hunter World it hasn't been getting any love since Borderlands came out, and
that's been getting a lot of love from me.
I feel bad about it because I really enjoyed playing Monster Hunter World, and I'd love to come back to it and really get back into that rhythm. But I'm absolutely loving Borderlands 3. I'm intoxicated by it right now, and Shadowkeep is in a week, so that I'm just not going to be able to come back to some of these games in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're
Do you feel
trying to,
stressed? Do you feel stressed out that you only got a
Borderlands.
week of Borderlands left before you have to switch over to Shadowkeep?
A little bit. See, I was hoping to have all 4 characters leveled to 50. I'm starting to accept the fact that maybe I'm just going to have 2 or 3 leveled to 50, and I'll have to come back for Moe's. Or not Moe's, Zane. Zane's going to be my last one to level up. So I'm accepting that fact already, and I'm looking forward, because there's also events that they're going to have. Like, they did that podcast, so there's going to be the Bloody Harvest one or the Harvest event, and then mellow one.
Kind of like the Halloween themed one.
Yeah, it's stuff that's coming down the road that I'm going to be super excited to jump back into. So I technically could level up another character during that. So I'm not as worried for that because I've been playing an absolute crap load of Borderlands and loving it. But I am disappointed that I only basically got like a week of Iceborne. And then, you know, like once you switch gears in your mind, you know how tough it is, right?
Yeah. No, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
So hard.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I think as sort of like we sort of touched on like last week, the nice thing about Monster Hunter, unlike games like Destiny and Borderlands, kind of like straddles the line, but like you can't really fall behind as much in Monster Hunter.
True.
Like it's not like a kind of like a weekly cycle. And they've also they revealed their roadmap the other day, and obviously we've got Rajang dropping next month, and we've got the Horizon Zero Dawn stuff coming. They've got like a seasonal event at the end of the year, so maybe at the end of the year you could jump back in for the seasonal event, and then whenever they do events, they bring back any of the event quests you missed, which means you could basically just go through and sweep up anything you didn't do. So it'd probably be a good time to jump back
Christmas
in like
time.
around
Christmas time
Christmas
sounds
time,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
amazing Iceborne time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
You know what sounds like even better? It's January when it comes out on PC.
No. Oh yeah,
Good luck with that, Briar.
Starting again. Oh dear.
So
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad for me, honestly. I
Yeah?
thought it was
No?
good. Well, we haven't gotten Code Vein yet, which is kind of the other big hit for me.
When does that one hit?
It's the 27th. I think it comes out on Steam on the 26th, though, actually.
20.
Like most
Next week.
Japanese games, it's right before the podcast.
So it's going to be
Yeah.
the 26th is Thursday. So you'll have, and you got to record DCP on Thursday.
So
you'll
Thursday,
have
Friday,
Thursday night, Friday,
Saturday,
Saturday,
Sunday,
Sunday, Monday.
5 days.
And then Tuesday, you'll obviously be switching over to Destiny Shadowkeep. And then you'll be playing a week of Destiny 2 Shadow, or well, 6 days at least of Destiny
For
2.
sure, of just
Raid ready.
Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
basically
we
just
are-
gonna try and go all in on those 5 days of Code Vein. Just all
Yeah.
Code Vein, get as far as I can, do as much as I can, and then hope I'm in a good spot to come back and not feel like, what was I doing?
Right.
Once we get World's First in the raid, though, I feel like it
Yes.
really kind of eases up. Like now
Well-
you've kind of got options.
No,
No?
not a whole lot, because there's the harder difficulty coming to Destiny stuff with nightmare hunts. So we're having
Okay.
nightmare hunts drop, and then the super difficult stuff with nightmare hunts. So, and we can level indefinitely till we want.
That's true. That's a good
So,
point.
and then the harder difficulty, the enemies are 980. So you're gonna have to be leveling up your artifacts.
Wow.
That is a big change.
Oh, my.
Probably gonna be in Destiny a little bit, but I don't want to just drop all these games. Like I'm still playing Iceborne and I'm having a great time with Iceborne.
Yeah.
I want to get to MR 200 so I can get that really awesome quest and do the quest. And
The monster, right? Yeah.
I don't want to drop Code Vein either. It's the thing that's gonna be a really fun game. So
Are you
hopefully-
concerned about starting Code Vein, then like taking, let's say, 2 weeks off and then trying to come back in the middle of the story? Because that's an RPG.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned. I think I'll be able to get a good amount done in the 5 days.
Think you'll be able to finish it in
I'm
5
just
days?
like hardcore playing, probably not finish it, especially with all the different build stuff.
Mm.
If let's do some math. What do you think? It's a Japanese RPG, so are we guessing 80 hours to finish it?
80 hours?
Guessing
You think?
300 hours
No, I mean I don't think 80 hours is out of the question for
for the actual just story.
Japanese RPG.
For
Yeah,
just
it's
the
like
story, you think?
Yeah.
For Code Vein? See, like, how much dialogue is in this game? Because it doesn't seem like it's a
I don't
dialogue.
know.
heavy
I
game.
don't
I'm
know that
gonna
much
be
about the
character
game.
creative for like 2 hours.
That's a
So-
good point. That's an underestimate, I would imagine too. I would double that and then square it probably.
Just the whole time before the podcast, I'm just gonna be making my character.
If Watts looks like kind of a little bit not paying attention during DCP, like she's looking off to the side,
Assume I'm paying lots of attention.
she's definitely checking out nose shapes on her Code Vein character.
But my biggest concern also is if I start Code Vein, like, would I be able to finish it before Shadowkeep? And like, I have a really bad history of starting a game and then dropping it for another release and then never coming back to that game.
I feel like that's the hardest thing, to come back to a game, because like you're in the middle of the game, the challenge has gotten up there, so now you gotta like relearn like the combat system and the intricacies of like all the leveling up you've done. but you also got to kind of like remember where you're at in the story, and like it's kind of multi-level. It's hard. It's easier with like an action game where okay, it's like if I stop playing Gears of War 5 in the middle, I'm gonna be able to pick that back up pretty easily. It's not gonna be a big deal. But with like,
I was in a dungeon last time. I fought a big boobed lady boss. Which big boobed lady boss am I fighting next time? Yeah, I'm
good
sure
point.
Yeah.
It is. I always find those games like those kind of Dark Souls styles games. They're always the ones that, unfortunately for me, sort of get like dropped, and it's annoying because I love them so much. But when it comes from like a content point of view, they're games that I play more for me than I do for the channel.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's like when I played Neo. I got about halfway through that. I loved that game, but then something came out, so I had to put it down. Unfortunately, never went back to it. I was super looking forward to Sekiro. Got through like halfway through that. I was streaming it, and then kind of things came out. I was like, all right, I'll put that to one side. And I'm worried that Code Vein will be the same thing. Just like they're always the games that, because they take ages because obviously you kind of get beaten by the bosses. You have to kind of come back and stuff like that. Yeah. And then, I do want to sort of go back and finish them. That's why the only way that I got through like Dark Souls 3 was like, I'm going to stream every single minute of this, so that I have to finish it.
So you kind of force yourself by making it content.
Yeah,
I get it. How much do you guys play video games for enjoyment only? Like you're not planning on talking about it on a podcast. You're not talking about streaming it, making videos about it. Nothing. I just want to play this for my own enjoyment, and that's it. How much time do you guys put into video games in that manner, like a normal video game player would?
I try to merge as much of my stream with that as possible. So, like Borderlands is a very unique version of that because I'd be playing insane amounts of hours regardless if I was a streamer with that game. Because I did that with Borderlands 2. I put in the insane amounts of hours. So like that, it's bisecting that perfectly right now for me. And I typically try to play games that I just straight up are enjoying from across the board.
Yeah, so you don't put in any time off, like offline playing games for your own enjoyment with no content creation aspect whatsoever.
Offline, I don't play as much unless I'm on a plane, and I don't fly too often. So there are some games like that,
Yeah.
Eric's, how often do you get to play like just with no content creation in mind? How often do you get to just like boot up a game and play for yourself?
Not a lot. I think for me, what I typically do is I reserve like a lot of my Nintendo games are ones like, I do some stuff. I do some Nintendo stuff on the channel, but a lot of like indie games or like the smaller games that I'm just like, a diehard fan of. They're the ones that I play on my own. I'd say if I look at throughout a week, like maybe at best, like I might get some time on the weekend where I'll sink a few hours into it. But like outside of that, most of my time is just spent. It's definitely like a sort of like 90% of the time is spent playing for content. But yeah, that's why I love the Switch so much, because it means I can sneak in like the games that invariably I'm super passionate about are the ones that like they're just sort of the obscure like odd games. I say they'll be indies or they'll be or like Link's Awakening that kind of just came out as like a perfect example, because short of just doing the first part of gameplay, I had no intentions to really cover it on the channel. Like I'm not going to go back and do like location guide. So I was away this weekend, and then I took my Switch with me, and I managed to almost complete the entire game by the time I got back, which was great.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense because Nintendo, I guess with the Switch it's a little easier, but with the DS and the 3DS, there was a lot of games I played that, I couldn't capture video off of that thing. I know it was theoretically possible, but I didn't have the equipment to do it. And like, so when I played on that, it was just for me. Like it was not.
It's a different feeling, right? I think I'm in more of a kind of a unique situation because the way me and Tomo spend time together, instead of watching TV or like we play games. So I try and set my schedule to where I can have a full like content creation day. And then in the evening, I don't need to do any more content creation because I've kind of like done that. I try to set it out like you would a normal work day, 9 to 5.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah, so in the evening, he wants to play Iceborne. So I'm like, all right, I'll hop on Iceborne and we can go kill some monsters. So I play every evening for probably like an hour and a half to 2 hours maybe of just like hanging out with Tomo and playing some games. So I get a good amount of time, and it feels good. It's nice because that, my whole life, this was my hobby, and that's what I did for fun and to relax and to hang out with friends. So to be able to keep that has been really good. Like playing League of Legends, I play with a bunch of friends, and that's kind of how we stay in contact with each other, because it's really hard to keep friendships when everyone is so busy and, people are getting married and having babies and they just don't have time for their friends anymore. But having, that hour or two where you can just hang out, catch up, see how everyone's doing through a video game is really nice.
It is a concern for a lot of people is making a hobby your profession. It can ruin your hobby in a way because it's no longer relaxing to do your hobby. It's now it's somewhat stressful because your livelihood kind of depends on it. So all of a sudden, like, you're not playing Destiny for the just enjoyment of hanging out with friends and shooting monsters in the face. You're trying to get clips, or you're trying to, find loadouts, or you're trying to do something to get content. And if you can't make that content happen for whatever reason, it can be stressful and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
interesting.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's really interesting how that changes.
Yeah. So, Eric, so you've been playing Link's Awakening, and this game is on my short bucket list, right? I cannot wait to play this game. Tell me it's awesome.
It is fantastic. I loved every moment of it. It is. I mean, I played the original, right? So I've got all those memories. I've got all those nostalgic memories. I kind of think about all the locations I've been to and all the boss fights and stuff, and then being able to replay them. But it's so nice because obviously, this isn't like one of those ones where you take a PS3 game and then you go to a PS4 game and they've slightly polished up the graphics and it, largely speaking, looks the same. I mean, this is obviously, it is a remaster, and all the locations, all the puzzles and things like that, that you were familiar with before, they're all largely speaking in the same place, but it just has a completely different look to it. So you're kind of going through this world that, for all intents and purposes, I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't play the original, so for them, it's a completely brand new Zelda game, which is amazing.
It's an old game, right? Do you know when that originally came out? It was in the 90s, right?
Oh, yeah. I do not off the top of my head.
I'll take a look while you guys talk about it.
It came out on the original Game Boy, and then it was re-released on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
So I gotta think that was the 90s. So there's people alive who are
1993.
Yeah, there's people driving cars and shit that weren't born when that game originally came out.
Yeah.
I saw quite a few people that I saw some people on social media. They're oh, this is the first time that I'm going to be playing Link's Awakening. So for some of them, they went into it as a completely new game.
Yeah,
and it's but it just holds up so well because I mean, it's always such a I mean, I love the Zelda franchise, right? So obviously, I'm slightly biased anyway, or massively biased. But it's one of those ones where it's so different because it's set in it's weird. When the game's so old, you're I don't want to spoil something because if someone's new to it, but I guess it's been out such a long time that it's kind of not a spoiler. But it's set in this kind of dream world anyway, right? So you kind of got these things that wouldn't necessarily fit in a normal Zelda narrative that you can kind of work in. So you've got a character that is basically Mario. You've got plushie dolls of Yoshi. There's an enemy that's actually Kirby. There are so many enemies that are taken from Nintendo, other Nintendo IP and stuff. So it's almost working the best hits of Nintendo into a Zelda game, which in itself is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And it runs and it looks so good. One of the things I like about the visual style is that the way that they've done it is there's a special type of, I can't remember what it's called. There's a special type of photography where when things are taken in such an angle, where people will take a photo of even something like a city, and you take it in such an angle with such a lens where it sort of blurs around to the point where a regular city would actually look like a toy, a toy playfield. There's a special
macro shot.
Yeah, but there's a special type of that kind of photography where you sort of make real things look like toys. Actually falls into there's a special name for it. I can't remember what it is, but that's the kind of look you get in Link's Awakening because obviously around the outside you've got that sort of slightly blurred look to it, and then everything just does look like you're playing with these little toys and stuff, which is fantastic.
Chat is in,
but it's such
shift. Chat's in tilt shift.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. That's it. So, and then I mean, but it plays so well handheld. So I played 99% of it short of the first hour that I played to record. Everything else, I took it with me on the plane this weekend. So I was away for the whole weekend, and then managed to sink in. I guess I probably over that time sunk in about just shy of 20 hours now. So it's not a hugely long game. It's not it's not one of those massive long epic ones that's going to take you forever. Obviously, if you do want to go around and collect things and do loads of different things, then you might get more time out of it. But also having played it before, some of the things that I went into, I was I already know how to do this, so I kind of blitzed through it.
The puzzles.
But Yeah, but I've loved every moment of it. The only one thing I haven't had a chance to try yet is the one thing they introduced that's new in the remaster is they've created this thing where you can create your own dungeons and share them with people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to try that because when you play through and you collect like certain parts, you eventually kind of go back and you can form them. So I'm gonna kind of wait until I've just finished the game. So I'm on the very, very last dungeon now, and then once I've done that, I think I'm gonna go back and then hopefully I'll have more parts and I can sort of test that bit out.
Very cool.
As somebody who's played this before on the original Game Boy, this is pretty much it's a really faithful remake, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does that old school game design feel now that you've played Breath of the Wild, like Zelda Breath of the Wild, which like revolutionized the Zelda game, but this thing goes way back in the game design, the mechanics go way back. So how did that feel like kind of going back in time like that?
So there's two parts. So for the most part, it feels great. Like the Zelda franchise, I feel like it always holds up really well, and I feel like the Zelda games have always fallen into the kind of two distinct categories anyway, right? You've got like the console ones, which is like Breath of the Wild and Ocarina of Time and stuff, and then you've got the handheld ones, and the handheld ones have always had like a slightly more fixed pattern to them to a degree. So I think in that respect, kind of going into Link's Awakening, you already expect it's going to be sort of like a different experience to like your Breath of the Wild. Anyway, that being said, you can definitely tell because there's a couple of things where you think about how so many games these days they just hold your hand to a degree. I mean, even Breath of the Wild, like it didn't really tell you what to do as such. But there's definitely a lot more things in modern game design where it's like, oh, you forgot what you were doing, or you're lost. Hey, don't forget to like I don't know, go into the menu and look at a log as this is the last thing I did. In Link's Awakening, I just forgot. It's like there's the only thing you have in that game. So if ever you get lost or you forgot what you were doing or like suddenly you skip past the text box quickly and then the guy and during that text box they were like, oh, you should go to the east, and then you missed it and you're like, oh, what shall we do next? The best thing you've got is like there's a little phone booth inside a tree and you go and speak to the guy and he like tries to give you a little reminder, like a snarky reminder. He's like, how do you not know this? But you should be going over here. So that's obviously like your quick way of if you forget things, how to sort of get back into it. But there's no like actual log or anything. And there were a couple of times when I'd go back through, say, like a dungeon, and invariably you have that Zelda kind of pattern where it's like, oh, you can go left or you can go right or you go somewhere. And then you start working your way through, you go deeper into the dungeon, you get loads of different keys, and obviously you can then open different doors. And then you open one door that's like the wrong door at the time. And you're like, crap, I'm missing a key. I can't go forward. And then you're just trying to rack your brain, go back, what have I missed? And there were times when I walked around a dungeon, like so many times, I'm like, am I being stupid here? Like, how do I get through? And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this corridor, I just forgot to go right. There's a whole new pathway that I haven't. So, so there's definitely a few parts of the slightly more classic Zelda where it's definitely much more about like, trial and error. There's a little bit less guidance. It's more just sort of like systematically working through these rooms and stuff. But I honestly still love that. I think there's very like, I love what Breath of the Wild has done for the series and kind of opened it up and given this complete freedom to the point where you can solve things any way you want to a degree. Whereas this is much more traditional Zelda. Like, no, this is, you haven't got this item, you're not progressing. Like, you are not going to go forward and do this dungeon, even though you're standing in front of it. No, mate, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
The Zelda series has always been special to me. I remember the first time I played the first Zelda is like having graph paper because I was in dungeon number 7 and I could not find what ended up being a bomb wall. Like a wall I could break with my bomb that I needed to do to progress, but for some reason I had missed it by walking through that room 15 dozen times. So I had graph papered out everything, and I was literally marking on the graph paper, wall, no bomb, wall, no bomb, like all 4 walls, like what was on all 4 walls till I finally found that bomb wall. But I mean, the exploration that was in those old school ones, I felt like Breath of the Wild really kind of expanded on. So I was wondering like how it felt going back to that.
Yeah, I think it still definitely felt really good. I had that exact same experience that you had about one of the bomb walls because at one point during my travels, I was playing it outside, and obviously the screen glare. It was a slightly dark dungeon, so I genuinely couldn't really see it on the wall. And I was like, I'm being an idiot again. And then suddenly I went in, I turned the brightness on, like, oh wait, I see it now. And then I blew. But yeah, no, I definitely, I think it held up really well. Because often when you go back to these games, sometimes it can feel a bit weird, sort of going back and like, does it actually still hold up well? Yeah. And again, maybe I'm in a slightly unique position because obviously I played the original one, so I've kind of got that attachment, so I knew what to expect. I'd be interested to sort of hear what happens if someone hasn't played Link's Awakening before and then they played it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I personally, I loved it. I think it's like, and it's a super charming game. Like everything about it was just like all the characters, all the little kind of like funny dialogue stuff, even down to the thing you do throughout the campaign, where there's like a little like, or quite a long trading sequence where as you're playing through things, you get different items, you give them to someone else, and then gradually, eventually, this leads to kind of getting a cool item at the end. Not a mandatory item, but it's just something you can do. There's loads of fun little things you can kind of do throughout it. So I definitely think it is, even if you haven't played it before, I would strongly recommend checking out Link's Awakening. I think it's a fantastic Switch game.
Yeah.
Do you mind, Tefty, if we switch regions to see if that gets rid of that clicking stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I can't do it on mine. Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Did we just lose it?
Definitely didn't work out how I was hoping it would work. There it goes.
Switch regions. Eric's goes missing.
Oh no, I'm here.
There we go.
No, we can hear you.
Video's coming back.
I think it actually worked. Yeah.
We're back. Excellent.
Briar's still salty about that one time Pope kicked him out of Discord. He sometimes has to get his.
That's right.
He's got to get it out
on everybody.
Yeah.
I dislike every post he makes. You know that.
My God, hilarious.
I have alt accounts just to do it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, do you have like a few alt accounts where you respond to him and you're like, Pope, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, Pope, you're weird looking.
Yeah.
That's Brian. If you see any comments, it's Brian.
Eric, you mentioned before the show you got the Switch Lite too, so I can't wait to next week. Hopefully, you can tell us a little bit about the new hardware because I'm really looking forward to hearing how you like that.
Yeah,
you just brought it home today, right?
Yeah, I was amazed at how tiny the box was. Like they've definitely gone for like literally the tiniest form factor. It is no bigger than the actual console itself. So I'm definitely it kind of caught me off guard. But I mean, when you think about it, I think in the package is just the console and then the charger. So yeah, I'm gonna check it out tomorrow, get it all set up. I ordered the grey one in the end. I was kind of I'm in our own about colors, and I saw them in person at Gamescom. And like I'm not really a turquoise fan anyway, so it's between yellow and the grey one. And grey doesn't necessarily sound that exciting, but then when I saw a photo of it, I was like, no, it's definitely the best one because it's like it's a nice sort of like slightly darker charcoal grey, and it has this perfect contrast with the white buttons, so it looks really cool. I heard
someone on Twitter say that if you pick the grey one, you're with the FBI. Now, I didn't understand why that is.
I cannot confirm or deny it.
Well, that's weird.
It was a passing tweet where it's like, if you pick the grey, I was like,
some strange connection to make.
Strong accusation.
I don't know. Maybe it's true. Who knows?
I've actually I try not to buy gray or black electronics anymore because over the last I don't know how many years, it's like everything I buy is just I'm a dude, so I just buy the black one. I'm a dude, I just buy the black one. So I've kind of created the situation where I have like a desk full of black devices at all times, and my bedside table is filled with black devices on like a black organizer on, and like there's just black everywhere. So I can't find fucking anything. Like I look at it, my desk,
Briar, I don't want to alarm you. You are wearing a black shirt today.
Yeah. See, my car is black. So I've tried to start buying, like if I buy electronics, I try and buy like the colorful version of electronics.
Well, now we know whoever gets Briar as a Secret Santa, buying something very colorful.
Turquoise or yellow.
Because I just can't find this stuff anymore. It just gets lost.
Fair.
Do you lose your shirts?
No, because I got like 15 of them that are all exactly the same.
Do you only see in black and white, Briar? Is that what's going on? You're just like,
no.
Oh yeah.
I can clearly see the green background behind you. I don't know what you're talking. Before I got sick last week, I was playing GreedFall, and I gotta tell you, Watts, I gotta thank you for bringing this game into my life because I had no idea. I had no idea this game existed until you talked about it on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. This game, it's a little bit weird. It's developed by a game dev called Spiders. And it's definitely a small development team. And it shows, it shows, but it's a role-playing game in the vein of like a BioWare game like Dragon Age Inquisition or The Witcher 3, like that kind of feeling is what they're obviously shooting for. And if you like that type of game, there's not a lot of those that come out. And this game definitely scratches that type of itch, like that kind of third-person, action-y role-playing game with some cool dialogue options and some cool story. And what's really kind of different about this is the era and the setting and what's going on in the story is you're kind of set in this kind of fictional colonial era, like Earth kind of thing, but there's magic kind of in the world. So there's kind of like there's kind of 3 different countries that are all trying to take over the new world, right? It's like, imagine, you know, this new country has been found, or this new land has been found, and like these 3 different factions are all kind of, you know, they've moved in and they're trying to take over the world. But there's also native people that live there, and they're obviously resisting this because they've been here all along, what gives you the right to take our land, you know? And it's interesting because like one of the factions is very religious, one of the factions is very scientific. The faction that you are in is kind of like on the fence. The religious faction and the scientific faction are actually at war, and the scientific faction is actually at war with the natives population of the new world as well. And your faction is kind of like just kind of trying to stay neutral. They're kind of like Switzerland, but you have to kind of represent your faction in this new world and make decisions, and how you interact with people actually affects the outcome of, you know, your country's relationship with the other countries. So, for instance, and it doesn't always go as expected either, because you would think that the easy way to play this would be always side with the natives, right? Because that's obviously going to be the good guy play. But just because they're the natives and they might be in the right doesn't mean that every one of them is a good person. So you have to like kind of judge who's a good person, who's not a good person. For instance, you try and line up with this one guy who is native, and he's getting in a fight with the science faction, and you kind of barter this deal between the science faction and the natives. Everybody's cool with it. We're all going to have a truce. And then the native guy just murders all the science guys at the piece of talk. Damn. You know, you're like, what? Everything was going so well. He's like, yeah, but fuck it. I had an opportunity to kill them all. You're like, okay, I see your point, I guess. So it's cool like that. And then it's like it's an action game, kind of Witcher style combat. I don't find the combat to be that engaging, to be honest with you. You have 2 weapons on you at all time. One is to break armor, and one is to inflict kind of flesh damage. And it just kind of felt a little bit clunky. You know, like switching between weapons.
Do you have, like,
kind of
skill trees or anything like that you go down? Or
you definitely have pretty deep skill trees. You can spec into combat, you can spec into magic, you know, kind of whatever you want to do. And as you get down those skill trees, you definitely get better. I'm only like a level 20 yet, and so I've got a lot of work to do to get to the bottom of the skill tree to really see what kind of builds you can get to. But I'm really enjoying the game so far. I think the story is hit or miss with a lot of people. Some people are kind of digging it because, you know, this kind of colonial tension between, you know, all these different factions is kind of, I find it to be really interesting. But I like to read, like, you know, history and stuff like that. To me, you know, it's like a fictionalized version of like what's happened many times in the past with. You know,
is there a lot of replayability where like you could do a bunch of playthroughs and have different outcomes?
I don't think it's going to be. I think you could, if you really like the combat, you might find that you want to just respec a character in a different way.
But you get the same story.
You're going to get the same story. Yeah,
okay,
it's going to be. You might get different branches of the same story depending on the decisions you make. But I think it's going to be sort of similar to The Witcher in that way.
Okay, gotcha.
And the game is definitely. While I like the game quite a bit, it's a $50 game, and it feels like it was built by a small team. So it doesn't feel as polished as BioWare game or, you know, something like CD Projekt Red would make.
Yeah.
You know, it feels
right.
It feels kind of indie, and it's charming in that way. But it's there.
It
shows,
you know? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm.
And it's good to hear that it's, you know, it's an enjoyable game because it looked pretty cool from what we saw of it.
yeah, it is cool.
Are you planning on finishing
like
it?
the characters? Oh yeah, definitely. I might not finish it right away because it's September right now, but it's on my short list of things that I definitely want to finish.
Sure.
Just like The Witcher 3 took me almost a year to finish, just because I got pulled away and then I'd go back to it.
Strange.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely plan on coming back to GreedFall. I like it quite a bit. I don't think it's a game for everybody, but I liked it quite a bit.
Cool. So combat not as engaging, but if you like history and like magic and a kind of a good journey, it's gonna have that.
Yeah. Who's this game for? Who do you see? What type of genre would someone, if someone likes a certain type of genre, what would that be for them to really like GreedFall?
If you really like CD Projekt Red games like The Witcher 3, or if you really liked Dragon Age Inquisition, this is a game for you. It's not. I don't think it's quite to that high bar that those games set, but it's along the same lines, gameplay wise and dialogue choice wise and story wise. But just know that it doesn't have the budget, it doesn't have the the staff that those games had. So but the games like that don't come out every day either.
Totally.
Yeah, there's a certain, like you said, it scratches an itch. So, and I'm sure we've all had that experience where you're like, man, I really want to play this type of game right now. So it's always nice when something along that same vein comes out that you can actually sink your teeth into and enjoy it. It's not quite what the original game experience was, but you still get to have a solid experience with it.
I really like it stylistically too, because it's got almost like a now I can't think of the Bloodborne kind of visual style to it, because it's kind of people with cool hats, and like especially the first area you're in, because the first area you're in is kind of like besieged by like this disease that you're actually, one of the main quests of the game is to try and find the cure for this disease. So like the whole town is kind of just like, it's got this kind of like, everything's just sick and just nasty, and like kind of it reminded me of that a little bit. As you move on to the game and you get into more lush areas, that feeling goes away a little bit, but I don't know. It was kind of neat. I like the feel of the game too.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice. What else we got on the docket today?
The agenda.
Yeah.
At large.
What are we gonna?
So this week, what is it? Is it tomorrow? No,
it's tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, tomorrow US time. I think it's like late for me, so I'll catch it Wednesday. But yeah, State of Play, and they are. I don't know if it's like solely dedicated to it, but the big thing is it's going to be Last of Us 2 stuff.
Oh,
yeah, they've been plugging that on Twitter all the time with a little image, and they're like, "We've been quiet for too long. That's about to end."
Yeah.
So we're gonna find out probably a good amount about Last of Us. We might even get a release date, which would be really exciting.
We know that it's coming out in spring, or are we just guessing that it's coming out in spring?
I don't think anything is solidified for a date.
No, that's just people just assuming it's coming out in spring.
They're going to say
pretty sure speculation.
Coming out October 1st.
The moon is haunted and zombies.
Exclusively on Nintendo Switch.
Announced at State of Play. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Exactly, right? Don't worry about it. Also on Google Stadia. But it's interesting. I don't know what to expect. The thing is that it's funny because about this game, I'm in a similar position to this game as I am with Death Stranding and also Cyberpunk, where like I've seen enough of those games to know that I'm in and I want to play it. Like, I love Last of Us 1. Like I don't even know if it wasn't for the fact that I'm probably gonna have to do a video on it, I almost wouldn't want to watch the State of Play stuff because I'm just like, I just want the game. I just want to know what the release date is. Because I mean, okay, admittedly they've only shown like two or three like little snippets of gameplay, so they've hardly spoiled things, right? But still, regardless, like it's definitely a game that I want to just like that. I mean, actually, to kind of sort of go back to what you're saying earlier, Brian, that's probably going to be one of those games as well, where like I'll probably try and play it just for myself. So because that's just a game that you just want to like sink into. So I'm interested to sort of see what they want to sort of show. Because I think there's everything they've done up until now. There's still this ongoing mystery of like who you actually going to play as. Like, is it going to be purely Ellie? Is there going to be any Joel aspect to it? Like, I don't know whether they want to sort of maintain that mystery up until launch and then you suddenly find it out, or whether they're going to try and sort of peel back the curtain. But yeah, I don't even know what to expect, and I don't even know what I want to see, to be honest.
Right.
Do you guys remember when they kind of showed that gameplay demo of her fighting off like kind of I don't know if they were bandits or whatever, but that demo was so impressive because like her movement was so fluid and like she interacted with the environment so well. Like when I remember watching that being like, geez, I hope this game actually looks like this when it comes out. And is this a PS4 game at all?
Right. That was my thought too. I was like,
do you think that they might go hard on PS5 at State of Play, or do you think they'll just wait?
They could announce it as a launch title, right? Because it's State of Play. It's all about PlayStation. They could just say it's going to be a launch title with a new console, which would be really exciting. Because I think it's a great game to show a new console.
They could do. They could also launch it on PS4 as well, like a low grade graphics version, like they did essentially. Like they had the PS3 version, and they redid, or they did like a redux or a remaster for PS4. But like they could technically do a dual launch, so people with PS4 can get it still, but also launch title on PS5 with beautiful graphics.
True. That would be cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that game.
Yeah, we don't know much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow we will, which is really exciting. I'm excited to see what else comes from PlayStation. Normally has a lot of stuff that I'm pretty excited about. So, look forward to it.
Yeah.
What about Spider-Man 2? Do you think they do the Spider-Man 2, or is it too early for that?
Too controversial for them to be
right.
To talk about
split
Spider-Man
off from the universe.
Well, that game wasn't connected to the movies.
No, I know. I was just thinking that maybe people were a little still like, oh, Spider-Man, Sony, really? Huh, interesting.
Too soon. Split that from the pack like that, Sony? Yeah.
What else? What else would you guys be thinking Sony might show there?
It's tough to say, really. I mean, we know the PS5
Lots
is
of
coming.
Japanese games.
Yeah.
I wonder if there might be a new Batman game announced, because Warner Bros. Montreal just put out a tweet which says "Capture the Night," and then they've also got the phrase in, I think it's French or Italian. I apologize, but I'm not even going to pronounce whatever it is. A few like icons for in between, but I'm like 99% sure that's Batman related. So the fact that they're kind of putting out a teaser now, and also this weekend was the Batman's 80th anniversary, I believe. So
really?
Yeah, I know the Epic Store released like all the Batman games, right?
Yeah.
Free.
So maybe there'll be like a new.
I
don't know if Rocksteady is still working. I think they wanted to like move away from Batman, but we don't know what Rocksteady are working on. So
yeah. It's tough to say, really. Like I feel like it's going to be hardware focused with like what's going to happen with the launch of PS5. You know,
God, it's like if you're talking about PS5 now, though, you're pretty much selling no PS4s during Christmas.
Well, they could do bundles that are cheaper. They could announce price cuts.
I would like to see that, because they're still selling the PS4 Pro for $400, and Xbox One X is still selling for $500. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Knowing that there's new consoles coming next year, like who's gonna buy maybe a $400 or a $500 console?
Maybe they're gonna do like a super cheap slim edition, like This Is It PS4 edition, and then they're gonna have like a Redux PS4 Pro that's like $50 or $100 cheaper for that.
That'd be nice.
And then a bundle some really games with it. Like that. I could see them doing something like that. It's just with a console coming out next year, it's just I don't see them announcing some crazy game and then releasing it next spring. You know, I feel like they're saving all this for console launch.
You think they'll be showing a lot of like third-party stuff like that might be coming out in multiple?
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Like Call of Duty, maybe they'll showcase or something.
Yeah, things like that. Like I'm expecting to see the things that we kind of already know about for the most part there, with maybe a couple dates. Like you said, Last of Us 2 date would be nice, or a little more understanding of how that's going to get released. That'd be good. Horizon Zero Dawn. Darth said that in the chat. Like I would love to see a Horizon Zero Dawn 2, but I don't.
Timing right for that?
Yeah.
What year did that come out? 2017?
I think we're still several years away from seeing a true sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's obviously going to be on next gen for that. But like,
yeah,
I mean that was a big hit, but I don't think they're going to rush a title to get it ready.
If
for
Sony
launch.
planned this outright, they could have the best launch lineup in history.
They could, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
True. True.
Like,
Absolutely.
imagine just those 2 games as launch, or add Spider-Man 2 into there. Imagine Last of Us 2, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and Spider-Man 2 as a launch lineup for the PS5.
That would be ridiculous.
It seems like a dream.
That would be pretty insane.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn was just fantastic. So if they,
Yeah.
I don't think it would be possible that they would have something ready by next year launch, but
Oh, Fraggin in chat said Ghosts of Tsushima could be shown there.
Oh yeah,
It's been a
that was
while
another
since we
game
heard
I was
something about that.
I was wondering if that was going to be a PS5 game too. I was like, because that looks so graphically impressive, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked beautiful. I can't wait to find out more about that game. So
That game.
I would just love to see more of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much they show tomorrow for stuff because it might even be one of those ones where they have like kind of like Nintendo do with their directs, where it's a little more focused on just like a few games. Because I wonder as well what they'll be doing. I mean, they'll probably have more state of plays throughout the year, but I wonder whether they'll do PlayStation Experience this year. I mean, I feel like they would have announced it if they were going to do it, but like that used to be their kind of mini E3, right? And then they didn't do it last year.
They didn't do it last year, right?
No, and they definitely didn't last year. I think they didn't do it the year before. I think it was 2 years back that I went. I can't remember the exact dates, but yeah. And the fact that like Xbox have got their own version in London this year, like their XO or something like that. So I feel like maybe there might be their stance. Who knows, really? But
Well, if they were to ask me, which they certainly should, I would tell them a cheaper version of the PS4 Pro would be awesome going into the holiday season, because $400 for a PS4 Pro right now is a hard pill to swallow.
It
is.
hard.
Right, knowing that the PS5 is coming out,
Right.
I would say that.
Yeah,
That would be great.
I really feel like with PlayStation news, we're just in that waiting period for them to finally get the new console out, so then they can talk about
For both of
Yeah.
them.
right. Yeah,
For both of the consoles, or both Xbox.
well, with Xbox, I feel less inclined like that because all that stuff is coming out on PC as well. And it's like I already have
True.
a PC rig that's going to play those games that Xbox
That's true.
announces, you know. But when it comes to PlayStation, it's like I want to know about these exclusives and I want to know about them having next gen hardware, so they're not going to be constricted by the PS4 hardware. And I feel like we're just in that.
I'd like
waiting
to
period.
hear how much the new console is going to be.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
even more than just being restricted for PS4 games. PS4 is the lead development platform for almost all games. You know, like all the biggest games. If you're multi-platform, you're developing for the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And then you're adding in some extra features for the PC because it can handle it, and the Xbox One X maybe gets a higher frame rate or better, slightly higher resolution. But PS4 Pro is the target.
Yeah, that's their target platform. So that, like, I'm super excited to see that get pushed forward into the next gen. So it's like
Me too.
just all these options that aren't just graphical, but like physics-based stuff. Like all those can get a push forward into the gaming universe.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the next, technology is improving in a way that I think frame rate is really going to be able to take a center stage in the living room with, high frame rate TVs. We're going to get 120 FPS TVs like coming out. I think some of them are out already. The Xbox One already supports high frame rate gaming.
It does?
Doesn't it? No, I'm sorry. It supports adaptive sync. But I believe it's going to support up to 120 hertz.
The Scarlet.
Yeah,
both. I think the specs were that both the PS5 and the Scarlet are going to be supporting 120 at 1080p,
which is really interesting. Because 30 FPS sucks.
30 FPS.
It really does.
Is a yikes for me.
It really. There was a lot of people who were like, I went back to Destiny after being able to play a bunch of other games with 60 FPS, like COD. If you played the beta, the new Call of Duty beta, that's all in 60 FPS on console. So going back, if you're a console player, you're playing these games on console. Going to 30 FPS games is like, whoo.
Yeah.
I have a headache.
It still depends on the developer, because when you design your engine and you set your level of detail and your quality of your graphics, you are targeting either 30 or 60, right? And like in Destiny's case, they decided to target 30. In Call of Duty, they've always decided to target 60. So it's
early days of first-person shooter gaming on console. People would call it the Call of Duty look and feel because it was in 60 FPS. Feel like, oh, it has that Call of Duty feel. It's locked. They had that. They did a really good job actually of locking that frame rate to 60 in Call of Duty back in the day.
Yeah, on older hardware too, the PS3 and the 360.
Yeah, you wouldn't see dips in it. It would be very smooth 60 FPS.
Yeah, especially in multiplayer.
Yep.
You know what I want to hear more about as well? I want to hear more about Ghostwire Tokyo. It's another one that I want to hear about.
All right.
Because that one looked super interesting. And Nakamura, who was the creative director, right? Was that what she was? She left like, what, 2 weeks ago? She left the company.
So she did the E3 thing and then was like...
She did the E3 thing, yeah. She was.
Oh, she was that lady that everybody fell in love with.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And spooky.
Spooky.
Yes.
She left the company?
She left the company. Yeah.
Was there any reason?
She hasn't given any reason. No. Recently she's just been kind of traveling America and visiting a bunch of studios. So and yeah, she's super active on Twitter. Super active on Twitter, doing all these journeys. So I don't know what she plans on doing next, but it was interesting to hear that a big person who's involved with the game, you know, the creative director of the game, was like, bye.
Wow.
So I wanted to know what that was about.
Yeah. I wonder if she already has her next project lined up or if...
Yeah, I don't know.
She's just gone Hollywood. She got popular. She got too big.
Famous, and now
she became a Twitter celebrity, and then all of a sudden
she wants to visit Bungie to high five the person who made the spicy ramen emote. Apparently.
Nice. You think it's too early to start thinking Bloodborne 2?
It's never too early. It's just heartbreaking.
I don't think it's too early. When did that game come out?
2015, 2016.
Bloodborne
2 is probably never going to happen. That's the problem.
2015.
Yeah.
Why do you think Bloodborne 2 is never going to happen?
Because they said it was a complete encapsulated game. And if there is going to be some sort of thing in the future, it's not going to be Bloodborne 2. It's going to be, you know, Bloodborne Awakening or Bloodborne some, you know, like they're not going to take what they did with that and make a sequel because it's a complete
it's
game.
Easy to have creative drive and passion until somebody drops a big ass check on your like one of those like comically large checks.
We want Bloodborne.
And it says in the memo, Bloodborne 2.
They don't
signed PlayStation.
Yeah, but it's like they don't need it. They're like, and here's Sekiro, you know, like we did Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, we
like,
made Sekiro.
You know,
it's better than a Ferrari Tefty. You know it's better than a Ferrari Tefty?
Yeah. Elden Ring.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll hear more about Elden Ring tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Game.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. I'd be very happy.
Yeah, it's more likely to see
Is that
stuff like that.
Is that a PlayStation exclusive?
Don't know if it's exclusive.
But it was shown at the Xbox conference, wasn't it? So I feel like maybe it might be the lead. But who knows?
Yeah, so they have a history of this stuff. Like Demon Souls technically never got a sequel. Bloodborne, if you look at the whole experience of it and the lore and all that, like technically it's a complete game, and there is no there's no continuation.
So we're screwed. Okay,
good. But
I would even take a 60 FPS remaster of that game.
I would 100% take that. Oh my god, I would pre-order the biggest deluxe version of that immediately.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. They make such good games. I can only imagine it that if you are someone who works on making combat in any game, you're like, damn, they make good games. That's what I want to be. I want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Their stuff is phenomenal.
Bloodborne is just a masterpiece. I love that game. And also, like, I'd be nervous about a Bloodborne 2 as well. Like, what if they screw it up? You know?
Oh, they never
What if they did get it? Well, Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 is like the most hated version of all the Souls games out there. And if they pulled a Dark Souls 2 on it, that'd be a yikes. I don't think they would. But again, I don't think that game's ever getting a sequel. If anything, it's like something else in that universe that's a completely separate storyline.
That's true.
Could potentially exist.
That could be a thing. But yeah, we know that they're working on another big game. Mm-hmm. So I guess even if Bloodborne wasn't said to be a complete package, we probably wouldn't be expecting it anytime soon because they already have a game coming out. Yeah.
I hope it's like something crazy, like a dating game, something like that.
A Dark Souls dating game. Ooh,
Right.
that'd be
It's like
exciting.
the toughest dating game you've ever played in your entire life. It's the Dark Souls of dating games.
Dark Souls of dating.
I would play that. That
Oh,
sounds
dear.
really fun. It's just really difficult. All the girls just hate you all the time. It's
Called blood porn.
Wait, that's Code Vein. Yeah, that's Code Vein.
Isn't that what everybody thought he said on the E3 stage? Is when he said Bloodborne, it sounded like he said blood porn when they first announced the
And
game.
they were like,
E3.
ooh, how exciting.
Is that just me that remembers that?
I don't remember that, but I could
It
definitely
was
see
just you
that.
who heard that. And then you're like, guys.
You know what they need to do? They need to bring back Tak Fuji for the state of play. You guys remember Tak?
No.
He was the guy. He was the guy in the PlayStation conference. The Konami conference some 5 years ago or something at E3 when they did the 99 Nights 3 demo, and he was the guy that saw a room of like full of journalists when we started like talking about his game. He would take random pauses and just be like, "Wow!" And he was like, "This game has over 1 million troops." Wow. And he clearly had been smoking something or drinking a lot beforehand. And it was just, and then afterwards his famous thing was he's like, combat in this game is gonna be extreme. Yeah.
How about is
He's
it
great?
Is there a new Ridge Racer like outside the realm of possibility?
Oh,
Like,
Ridge Racer.
That's a Namco game, but it's always been associated with the PlayStation, and it's been a long ass time since we've had one.
It's time for a reboot.
I'd love to see a Ridge Racer. They were fun
It's
games.
The
They were like
Dark
real
Souls
arcadey
of
racers.
racing. Ridge Racer.
Oh, dear.
You know, when you go in and check out a new game, there at the moment they're always like, oh, this game mixed with this game, which is usually at the moment it's Metrovania. They're like,
Yeah.
this is
The buzzword.
a Metrovania type game. And I'm like, as is every game. Metrovania, roguelike, action, RPG.
Soulsborne.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But they say those 4 words. And I'm like, yep, I'm in. Pre-order.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Money. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go again.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's great.
It's true.
It's just easier to like get across what type of game you're describing by using like other games as descriptors. And I know it lacks originality and creativity, but it's just a fast like shorthand way of doing it. You know,
It is.
I
Yeah,
can't
that's
wait for
why.
next year's.
That's why we were saying that Disintegration will be a hard sell for people because you can't just
Yeah.
give a
Yep.
really quick description of something it's similar to.
Mm.
yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's not exactly the same, it helps people be like, okay, well, I like those types of games, so I'll maybe check this out. But if you're just like, it's like a new thing,
It's just
you have to
hard
be
explain
Kojima to pull off
thing.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This new genre of
Or if it's two
then-
things that just don't seem to fit together, like a first-person shooter and an RTS,
yes.
like you got some explaining to do.
Yeah, you got to connect the dots, and that's really tough to do verbally without even visually on that game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, visually I remember standing in line to play that game, Disintegration, and I'm just kind of watching the screen. I'm like, I'm kind of like, it's tough to see what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Indeed.
Yeah. There was a little bit of news for Borderlands. I did mention earlier in the show. They said the Halloween event, there's going to be some new boss-ish. New boss. It's Captain Haunt instead of Captain Trant. Going to be new rewards and stuff. Yeah, a little play on words, you know, a little Borderlands style.
I like it.
Yeah, some Halloween themed rewards, and I guess a couple legendaries too, if I recall correctly.
Cool.
Yeah. There'll be legendaries that are exclusive to the event and will go away. That will not be available after the event.
It's interesting, right? Pulling
Mm-hmm.
a live service there, huh? With not being a live service. Yeah, and then
that is interesting, actually.
Right? Yeah. So they've also got Malawan Takedown, which is they are calling their first raid boss, which is so this is different from Borderlands in the past, is they've always launched with a raid boss, so you go and kill and farm to get stuff, post game content. And this one is launching almost like 2 months later because I think it's going to be November from Malawon Takedown. I'm very curious to see how they're going to do this, because this is technically their evolution now from Borderlands 2 launched with Terramorphous, and then every DLC had like some raid boss that came with it. Some boss that was a big baddie with a health bar that like you'd figure out a build to just melt that health bar as quick as possible. And so what are they going to do with Malawon Takedown? And is it going to be more than just show up and insert some iridium and boss pops up? Or is it going to be like a get to this point, do these things, and then you unlock the boss? And is there going to be more mechanics? Is it going to be the same how it was already in the game? Be curious, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to walk in, press F to do a fade away, and then crit him, and his life bar will be gone. Flax build,
right?
It's done.
Gonna go there. You get
the
pipeline bomb,
and your
Moe's.
Porcelain pipe bomb.
Just throw them, and then they're dead.
You don't even have to be Moe's though for that. You just character. You just equip the pipe bomb.
You just the good thing with her is that you have unlimited of those.
Yeah, you don't have to spend the money at the machine to restock.
Yeah, you just constantly can. You don't even need to use your gun. You just check in the nades.
Yeah,
and when you have to use your gun, you're like, what? My gun sucks. The bomb's way better. The bomb insta kills everything that I should not be insta killing.
Yeah, apparently the porcelain pipe bomb bores is what it does. So if you're familiar with Borderlands 2, Zero had an ability called bore, which bullets would bore through enemies, creating multiple hits. And so apparently it's connected with the fact that it bores, and that's why it has chances where it does insane damage as a grenade.
Oh, it's absurd.
Yeah.
Plus you're holding like what? On the low end, 12 grenades with Moe's. You're looking at like 16, 15 grenades that you just have on you.
You just regenerate grenades though, right?
Yeah, you regen grenades too. So having that amount of grenades plus regenning grenades when you hit something with a explosion is yeah.
My God.
That's great.
Sounds ridiculous.
That's the good stuff. That's what not having multiplayer or not having PvP gives you. Stupid shit like that. That's fun.
Pretty much. Right? Yeah. I've been having a blast playing Borderlands. I absolutely love it. And also, I think the end game's a lot of fun too. Some people have had complaints about the fact that there's a lot of things that don't have specific drops in the world. So in Borderlands 2, almost every gun or weapon or thing or shield had a place for it that you could technically go and focus your efforts, and your farm abilities to get it to drop. There's a lot of things that don't have that in this game. Like some of the best SMGs don't, like the Crossroad, the Cutsman, all the class mods technically drop in the world and all that. And there's pros and cons to it, because like on the pro side, you can literally go do all stuff in the game and have chances of world drops drop from any enemy, which I like. I like that. But then there's times where I'm like, I really want another Crossroad SMG that's a different flavor. I can't.
And you got 1,000,000,000 to 1 chance of getting it.
Yeah, I can't brute force that drop.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons. I think the health of the game is better to be able to just play whatever and get drops as you're playing, because it's kind of like Diablo in that sense, where you're clearing dungeons, you might get a couple legendaries, you see them, and then go from there. So I know I've really been enjoying the end game.
Yeah.
Anybody else at end game?
Yeah. I actually kicked off my True Vault Hunter mode playthrough this time, because I've been doing everything normal Mayhem 3 for a little while, just while I was sort of like farming stuff and
level
taking
50
these off. But then, and then ran back through TVHM now. So yeah, really good. We've just been just sort of like tweaking builds and perfecting things, and finally got my my solid flak build, and really enjoying it. I've got almost my perfect loadout. I've got like a really nice Queen's Calls drop today as well, so that works perfectly with the crit build. So yeah, loving it.
Yeah, I just started leveling up a flak. I'm level 9 right now. I'm excited to get that going. I've really been enjoying Amara though.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with them.
Yeah, seeing as they're not adding new Vault Hunters, it would actually be really cool if they added more skill trees for the current ones. Because like with Flak, for example, you can't really take advantage of his pets because it's just a crit build that's super strong. Or with Moe's, for example, you don't really pay attention to her mech at all.
That's what I've seen about Moe's gameplay. Like I see people just have Iron Bear available at any time, and then they only hop into it if they're about to die. Yeah.
And the problem with that is that, like, well, I mean, because I've been sort of like putting together loads of like different builds and stuff for like videos, and like I've got loads, like for like Flaky, for example, like I've got a really cool Beastmaster build where you can make the pet really strong, and same thing for the racks. But the problem is any class seems to have some kind of like ability or gadget, or like the mech or like those things like that. They're great in like Mayhem 1 and 2. The second you hit Mayhem 3, they just don't scale enough. So they just get like, you send your pet in, he's just dead, or you send your mech in, he just gets shredded. It's just kind of a shame. Like, I hope they do sort of address that, because I feel like if they can get a better balance, it'll bring in some. I mean, because I'm having a ton of fun with Flak, but the reality of it is, if you want to do damage Flak, you go, crit tree and fade away, and that's just the way to kill everything. Mo's is like, you either go grenade spam, or you go like the 1 HP build that we did the other day, which is just like not strong.
Mm-hmm.
And for Amara, I mean, like, you can get some. You can obviously, you got like an elemental, or you got like the melee builds, but yeah, it's just sort of a shame to kind of think that some of that stuff that like makes those characters so unique is a bit like, it's fine for leveling and fine for, and I guess for the average kind of casual player who's having a casual kind of like story experience, they can do whatever they want because you can get through and it's fine. But if you really want to be like those endgame players, then you're not going to have too much flexibility.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can balance that though pretty quick.
That's kind of how it's always been in Borderlands though. Like you have all these options initially for leveling, but then if you want to do the toughest content, there's usually builds that you have to work towards. But I do agree that the actual abilities, like the pets, if they're dying all the time in TVHM Mayhem 3, or not being that useful, and if like the Iron Bear isn't useful, that's a bummer, because those are the core pieces of their loadout. Like for me as Amara,
the pet is actually always useful because you can touch him and he will shit in his hand and sling his shit.
That's great.
There's no situation where that's not useful.
This is true.
It's actually the perfect move.
That's a fact right there.
And it is even better if you then use that in the Beastmaster tree, and then use the special skill ability that then makes him an even bigger pet. So you can then make him a bigger version of Bobo who can then go and pick up his crap.
Bigger crap checking.
It's great.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there you go.
I will say with Amara, I feel like I'm just lighting everything on fire and destroying everything with ties that bind with elementals really quick. It's a lot of fun.
I like that. When I watch, I'm only playing as Flak right now, and I have not gotten to endgame yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to endgame and then trying all the other characters, because when I see other characters, they all look different enough that I want to check them out.
Exactly.
I know you guys talked about Borderlands quite a bit last week. Did you guys mention the music at all? Because I have found that I've turned the dialogue way down in this game because it's terrible, but the music is phenomenal. Like, it's so varied and so fun, and like you don't hear it at all. Like with the standard mix of it, like just the way the game loads, it's like everything's at 100%.
Yeah,
and you got to turn the gun sound way down. You got to turn the dialogue sound way, way, way down. But maybe then you leave the music way up, maybe even muted. But the music is phenomenal. It fits the situation so well that you're in, and it's so varied. Like, it's so good. I'm going to download the soundtrack for this game. It's really good.
There was one mission where we were in a car. I can't remember exactly. And the music kicked in, and I was like, oh, yeah. Got you like really in the mood for that specific type of mission. Yeah. So good. Yeah, there's been some really good music.
Oh, actually, I guess there's two. There was one where you're riding with Maya, and the Ellie had a mixtape in there. Then there's one where you're riding with Vaughn, and it's like jazz music.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes the music is a better joke than anything they wrote dialogue-wise. But sometimes music's just cool,
So what
I gotta say, guys, the dialogue, like the humor of this game, is not hitting at all for me. I don't think I've even chuckled.
Really?
And Brian is chuckling.
I've laughed a lot. I've laughed a lot.
Really?
I think the clips.
I thought Borderlands 2 was hilarious. Granted, it was it was a long time ago, so maybe I've clearly matured so much.
Here's the thing: the Calypso twins are super cringy and annoying enemies. They're really well done because you hate them so much. But in my opinion, I don't want to listen to them ever again because they're just not interesting to me to listen all the time. The side quests and the other characters though are fantastic. Like, have you met
the side quests are good?
Have you met Balix?
I don't agree. Every character is a fucking total asshole.
No, you haven't.
Tina was amazing. Tina was really funny.
I thought they were all obnoxious jerks, and like that works. If not every person you run into is an obnoxious jerk, then you can have an obnoxious jerk, and that obnoxious jerk is funny because it stands out. Oh, this guy's an obnoxious jerk. If you have 30 obnoxious jerks, if you have 30 obnoxious jerks, then you just get sick of just being around all these obnoxious jerks all the time.
I was gonna say, what about Chad? But he is an obnoxious jerk, but he's an obnoxious jerk and a bruh. That's really funny.
Brian, there's some great side quests, man. You need
the barista, the coffee guy.
Yeah, he was an obnoxious jerk.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in that regard.
One thing in the humor that sort of like they kind of didn't, because I think maybe it's because I misremembered a lot of it, but they like Borderlands always had like a lot of like funny innuendos and stuff like that. But like I think some of the times when those are told, but then it's down to you to kind of like get the reference is what makes it funnier. But there's a few times throughout the campaign that like they would make an innuendo, and then instead of just leaving it there, they would basically blatantly say what they're trying to say afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like, are you saying that because you're thinking that the broader audience maybe doesn't get it, so you want to make sure they've got the joke, so you're going to force it on them? Or is that supposed to be part of the humor? That was probably the only one part that kind of like, I thought, that's just a bit dumb. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, I enjoyed most of it.
Did you not find Balex funny?
I haven't found any character to be funny.
You don't like Balex?
I don't even know the characters' names. That stood out.
The bear.
The bear.
I don't think I've seen him yet.
Have you gotten to Eden 6?
Yes.
Have you gotten to the ship, the Jacobs family jewel ship?
I don't think so.
Okay, you're not that far in the game. Got it. Briar has barely played Borderlands.
I think
if you meet Terry,
I think my character is level 20.
Balex.
I think my character is level 20.
Balex is the best character in the game.
Okay.
I couldn't play video games for a week. That was where it was at.
Maybe
I was gonna ask what you thought about the story, because that would have been interesting to hear your opinion, Briar, on just how it ended and the decisions they made. So if you do finish it, maybe we
once
can
you
come
finish
back
it,
to
and then
thoughts.
we can like have a roundup on that next week.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be great. Yeah,
that'd be really interesting because I know there was a lot of hit and miss with the story for everyone.
Yep.
We got anything else we want to cover this week?
I think that's it for the episode, right?
No, I think that might be the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there was stuff that came out that I wasn't able to try that I'd like to talk about, but I didn't try it, so I can't talk about. Like Remnant got a new dungeon.
Oh, it did?
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, so I wanted to try that out.
Timing.
Leto's Lab.
Fucking September!
What? September? Jesus.
Oh, you know what? What has taken the world by storm is the Untitled Goose Game. I'm sure you've all seen clips on Twitter of someone.
I don't even know what that game is. Everyone's raving about it. I don't know what it is.
Honking at people and scaring them into their house or scaring them into a phone box so they call the cops.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah,
Goose
I don't know much. I haven't looked into it as to what you're actually, but I'm pretty sure you're just supposed to be an annoying goose.
You're an obnoxious, annoying Borderlands 3 goose.
You know what else came out this week as well? Surprise, which I never thought I would see the day, but Cube World.
Right.
Cube World.
It's happened.
Yeah, like, I was shocked.
That I was shocked. Like that was one of the first games that I did tutorials for. I went back and put some cringy old YouTube videos where I used to make Cube World tutorials.
Oh, amazing.
What year was that?
Oh, that must have been like 5 years ago, maybe.
And like that, the developer has been like silent. Like I just assumed that he abandoned the game.
Yeah, he just recently was like, "Hey, it's coming out."
Yeah.
Occasionally, like once a year, he put up like a new screenshot or something. We're like, "Oh, working on something," and then people are like, "This game is never coming out." And then he was like, "Surprise! I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm not in like the full release date stuff yet, but just seeing it, I was like, wow, okay.
When's the full
what
release?
What a time to be alive!
Actually, when does it officially come out?
I saw Goth saying he was streaming it today, so I'm not sure if it comes out today or if there's like early access today, but I think it's
the early access.
Yeah, early access is right now.
Okay.
I'm wondering when the full release is. Because I'd like to.
Oh no, actually.
Be nice to talk about it next week when more stuff is out there about it.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'll be able to play it if there is a release time before that. But yeah, well, I think that is SideQuest, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Quest complete. SideQuest episode number 19.
Hey, good shot.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you guys.
Whoops,
for watching.
I just unplugged my headphones. 1 second.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
We should mention.
Quick, say something about him.
SideQuest does have its own YouTube channel now. We're still uploading it to the DCP channel, but that will end So make sure you subscribe to the new YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the description of the video so you can check that out. It doesn't have its own like vanity URL yet, so it's not like easy to say.
X41XXLLGO.
It's BriarsBloodPorn.com.
Briar's Blood Porn, yeah.
Check out youtube.com/420noscopesxx.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. Appreciate all the support, whether you're watching live or on YouTube or in the Podbean downloads and all that stuff. Also, if you're a subscriber on Twitch or Patreon, thank you very much for all that support as well. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. You can catch my streams twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, where I've been playing a crap load of Borderlands 3, and will be playing a crap load of Shadowkeep as soon as that releases on October 1st as well.
Me, I'll go. I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts, and I'm gonna start playing Code Vein on Thursday, so that's gonna be exciting. And of course, Destiny is coming. Of course, obviously.
Ah, yes, that little game. You can find me over on Twitter at Arix or YouTube Arix Gaming. This week will be, I guess, more Borderlands, more Monster Hunter, kind of before the Destiny madness, and then I'm hopefully going to sneak in the final boss for Link's Awakening this week.
Nice.
Nice. God, I'm going to go buy Link's Awakening, I think, tonight.
Do it.
I'm Brian Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.